I'm going to just find all my notes here again so I can introduce you properly. Cassandra Collins, who is a dear friend as well as being an outstanding professional of many talents. So let's find Cass. So Cass, she's a lifelong student and lover of life. She teaches and practices Kundalini yoga. She's a sound artist offering immersive sound journey experiences and an enthusiastic microgreen grower and muncher. She's passionate about sharing her take on living a happy, healthy, wholesome life with all who may be sick and tired of being sick and tired. She spent most of her life in the economic capital of South Africa. Here we go, Johannesburg. And she's traveled extensively studying ancient traditions across India, Africa, Australia, and Europe, but now lives in a beautiful valley in North Devon, which is where you will find her. She also has a very beautiful yogi dog called Billy, who I have been privileged to meet. And so we are going to get Cassandra on, and let's see if we can get you to unmute. So I've got to remember how to do this again. You should be able to unmute now, can you? No.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Lorraine. Thank you for that. And yeah, Neka, really nice to connect with you as well. And I love the theme that connects us, which is Nelson Mandela. I mean, what an inspirational man, and what a privilege it was for me to be in that country at that time. You know, it just was completely transformational. And my whole journey has really literally been, I think, that which is transformational. And I think this is really the key to life. So I'm just honored to be here, Lorraine. Thank you so much. And yeah, you are really such a beautiful friend, and actually one of my guides and one of my teachers as well, although we met through Lorraine's love of yoga and Kundalini yoga. So it was a gift that was obviously meant to be. And I never question these things. And the more I have journeyed through this life, the more I look at these beautiful connections and interwovenness and the fabric that kind of supports us on our journey. And this is why I want to speak about our sacred sexuality today, because ultimately we are here to experience all that life offers us, and one of the driving forces is our sexuality. But before I get on to that, what attracted me to step out of my fear zone, which is public speaking. I know I'm a yoga teacher, and I've been teaching yoga for probably 16 years now. I've been practicing for 23 years. So it's a long journey that I've been on. The biggest fear I've had to face is public speaking. So I've had to hand over a hell of a lot of what I'm about today to my highest power, and just go, it's okay, you can do this, you've got this, Cass. And I hope that you get the message. But I want you to understand that what I share with you are my thoughts and my personal feelings about the subject. It is not in any way meant to be prescriptive, and you may find that you are triggered by some of the things that I say, and that's okay too. Just let it go. If it lands, take it on board. If it doesn't, just shrug it off. Because through my life, I've been triggered by things people have said, and I never had anyone just to nudge me and say, it's okay, let it go. So they become ingrained beliefs about myself. The fact that I can't speak in public, and it's crap, it's nonsense. Of course I can. I'm doing it right now. I do it every day when I teach yoga. And I kept on saying to myself, but that's different. You know, when I'm in a yoga zone, I'm different. I'm a teacher. I'm not Cass. So that's like a barrier. But for now, I'm Cass, but I have kind of dressed up in my yoga kit, which gives me that added little boost of comfort and probably confidence. Okay, so bear with me. Sacred sex, it is so much more than just the act itself. Everything starts with how we think. And you've heard this all before, and Neko was always on about that in her chat as well, which was incredibly valuable. Thank you, Neka. So, but if this is true, how we think informs how we feel, and the words we speak. So if we're not feeling it, how can we possibly be available and sexually, lovingly in the zone? This for me is so frustrating because as mature women, we are told that menopause makes us unsexy. And guess what? When the majority hit their late 40s, mid 50s, we become unsexy. We start to question that. We all hot and prickly. Our moods, our emotions are all over the show. And our mucous membranes lose their juiciness. It happens, okay? But it doesn't mean that it's over. So what happens then? Sex becomes uncomfortable, it becomes sore, and we avoid it. So thank goodness we're alive today and there is help. Medical science is there for us. We can choose to go the route of HRT. But what if there was another way? What if there were endless other ways that we could deal with what we're going through? Instead of just buying into the common narrative. Do you know that in certain cultures and ancient traditions that are still practiced today, menopause, that word doesn't even exist? Women are supported through every single life stage. And I think our modern day society is reclaiming that. And that's why we've been drawn together here right now today. This is part of that step back to supporting each other and not being competitive and divisive. And this is the biggest challenge that society actually faces. I'm sure you will agree with me. My teachers in the Kundalini tradition opened my heart to other possibilities. I felt my menopause coming on in my very early 40s. And by my mid 40s, I was given no option but to have a full, complete hysterectomy. And they even amputated my cervix, whatever that means, okay? It was a biggie for me. My relationship was in tatters. I was an emotional mess. But by chance, and I guess it was destiny, I met my Kundalini yoga teacher. I had been teaching Hatha yoga for about 3 years already. I had been practicing yoga for about 8 years, and I met this incredible, powerful woman in her health shop, and I was in recovery. I was pretty much embarking on the next stage of my life, and I needed to be aware of what was out there to help my healing process from this major operation. She taught me about the art of exquisite self-care. I'm still learning. I'm still a work in progress. But what I can say is that with loving self-care and support, I came through my menopause without any HRT. And I actually owned my sexuality after that. I really stepped into that power. I became orgasmic for the first time in my life. The journey and the choices that I made took courage. And that's actually what sparked me to say yes to Lorraine when she invited me to do this, to step out of my comfort zone and to share this story with you. At times I felt really alone. I was scared and I was losing my mind. But something kept nudging me back to my heart. To stop, just stop overthinking the stuff and just to stay soft. Those were my mantra words. Just stay soft, Cass, just stay soft. I then embarked on a deep dive into Kundalini yoga teacher training. It was hectic, and I'm about to embark on my second level. In fact, I lie, I have done one module of my second level in France about 6 years ago, and it was extreme. But now I'm returning. This week, I'm returning to South Africa. I'm returning to my teacher, and I can't tell you how excited this makes me feel. And I'm going to be doing mind and meditation. That's my next module. And I'm fascinated by the mind, and I'm fascinated by the power of meditation. So I'm going to invite you all to join me at the end of this little chat in a practice. It's a really beautiful practice of breathing, and then into a meditation with more breathing, and then into another breath practice. But before we get there, I've got more to go through. So let's see where we are here. It was through this Kundalini yoga teacher training that I discovered my warrior spirit. I stepped into my power, and I began to understand the primal powers that exist and flow through us, the divine feminine, the sacred masculine, and the creative flow of Kundalini. Before that, I had no creativity inside of me. I was so incredibly shy to express myself in any creative way. And since then, I've gone on to become a sound artist. I never knew. I was married to a jazz musician, a furniture designer by day for 18 years. And yet I didn't know that I had a musical note in my body. And I don't call myself a musician because I'm not a musician, but I make incredible soundscapes through indigenous instruments. And every one of us has this gift somewhere inside of us, but we just need to unlock it. You have to understand that you have been here, you have been brought here today to unlock whatever it is that is your creative gift to the world. And it's time to shine. We cannot hide anymore. I can't hide from this anymore. I have got to find these ways of expressing myself, primarily to uplift as many people as I can. The same as how Neka was feeling, the same as what Lorraine is feeling. This is what drives us. So getting back to this, it's how these three energies dance within us. It's their rhythm and harmony that affects us on a day-to-day basis. I personally feel that much of the gender confusion and orientation that exists today is as a result of the lack of harmony in these three energies. But please remember what I said in the beginning. This is my personal belief. It's not prescriptive in any way. You do not need to agree with me. So back to my thoughts and my feels. The dance of the divine feminine and the sacred masculine is the art of white tantra. You probably have heard that word, okay? It's another whole topic on its own. This is a very sacred practice, white tantra. It finds expression in how we interact with a partner and with our own self. It can be a physical sexual expression, but it is essentially way more subtle than this. Just think about the sun and the moon. The sun rises and it sets like clockwork. It's bold, it's fiery, and it shines down on everyone. The moon waxes and wanes. It's never constant. It's always changing. Sometimes it's hidden, or maybe just peeping through. And yet, like this last Leo full moon, how bold and bright and beautifully present was she. And I say she because this is the essence of what we are. The moon is feminine, the sun is masculine, and we mimic these characteristics to a T. As women, do you not feel exactly this way? Have you ever wondered why men find us confusing and exasperating? And how hard have we tried to change, to fit into their world, that patriarchal world that our forefathers created for us? And how after so many years of trying and failing, our poor bodies start breaking down, letting us down, and it's been called menopause. And so begins a way back to our sacred sexuality, back to our magnificence as divinely feminine beings. So just take a nice deep full breath in, everybody, really filling those lungs as much as you can and sighing it all out and letting it go. We're going to get into this little practice now. So you can stay seated in your chairs, you do not need to move, but what I am going to advise you to do is maybe get hold of a tissue and blow your nose, because there is going to be some forceful exhales, okay? I had a tissue here somewhere. God, I don't know where it's gone. That breathing is known as breath of fire, and it channels the sun energy inside of us, and it's what we use when we need to get up and go. We can channel that inner masculine. We can gain the courage to do what is necessary in order to achieve what we want in our lives, but we've got to own that masculinity. We cannot suppress it. I've spent so many years afraid of my inner masculine, and it's over. I can't do that anymore, okay? I want to celebrate both. I want both of them to be flowing as freely as possible through me, and this is the way we're going to do it. We're going to start with some lunar breath. So I want you just to be conscious of how you are feeling at the moment. Just lightly close your eyes and go inside to that heart space and take another couple of breaths. And there's no right or wrong here. If this doesn't resonate for you, just close your eyes and listen to my voice, okay? I don't mind if your screens are all off and I can't see you. It's okay. And if you've got a problem with your nasal passageways and you cannot breathe easily through one nostril, then don't force it, because this is known as alternate nostril breathing. But we're going to only be breathing in and out through the left nostril, lightly blocking our right nostril with our right thumb and closing our eyes and focusing them at your third eye point, which is the little square in between your eyebrows. And then just very lightly start to inhale through that left nostril and out through the left nostril. Breathing in and out through the left nostril only. Slowly allowing that breath to deepen, slowing the breath rate down completely. Relaxing with every breath, just letting everything go, using the out breath. We're going to be here for another minute, so just relax into it. And now on your next in-breath, I want you to deeply inhale and hold that breath. And if you can, engage the muscles that would stop the flow of urine so that you become a container for this breath. Lightly holding that breath for as long as you can. And when you can, release the hand and exhale out both nostrils. Just letting it go, returning to normal, natural breathing. And you can gently blink your eyes open, coming back into the space. Keeping your eyes downcast a little bit. Just notice how you feel. So it's a cooling breath. It calms our central nervous system and it activates our parasympathetic. So it switches on the vagus nerve. It's a real handy little tool that you can use and you can take away with you. The next part of this is the meditation, and it's known as the yoni meditation. Yoni is another word for our vaginas. So it's kind of directing the flow of energy down to our root, our core of our being. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to mimic the shape of our vaginas by bringing our little pinky tips together, which is known as the Mercury finger, because it's air, it's light, it's as high a frequency as we can channel. And if you think of the quality of air, it's all around us. So it's harnessing that. And then we're also going to bring our thumb tips together, and the thumbs represent the ego. So we kind of channeling that. And then our other three fingers are pointing in towards each other, just outside of our chest, outside of our heart, away from us. And our eyes are going to gaze down at the tip of the nose. So you can't really focus here on anything, but it gives you another dimension in which to rest in while you just focus on inhaling through your nose and exhaling out your mouth, blowing that air out your mouth through pursed lips, and then inhaling through the mouth, through those pursed lips. Closing the mouth and exhaling through the nose. Inhaling through the nose. And exhaling through those pursed lips, blowing the air out. Inhaling through the mouth. Nice and slow and cool and long. Exhaling out the nose. Maintaining your focus at the tip of that nose. Then inhaling through the nose. Make the breath as light as you can. As light as a feather. Not rushing. Just letting it flow out through the mouth. In through the mouth. Out through the nose. In through the nose. Keep going for another couple of rounds. So the next time you breathe in through your nose, You're going to hold the breath in for as long as you're comfortable without forcing. And when you're ready to let it go, you shut your eyes, you release your hands, and you simply breathe naturally again. Focusing your gaze at your brow point, accessing all your intuitive powers. And then blinking your eyes open, coming back into your space. So that little practice you can build up slowly so that you're doing it for 11 minutes. It takes some doing to hold that posture just with your fingers. But once you get the hang of it, and by saying 11 minutes, I mean, it sounds endless, but you know, just take it in little tranches and every day increase a little bit more, a little bit more. And once you're at the 11 minutes, it's kind of effortless. It's not a big deal. So now we're going to return you to a more left brain, more awake state. So notice how you're feeling now, and let's see what happens after this next one. This is where the breath of fire comes in. It is hot breath, okay? So if you are struggling with flushes or menopause symptoms, you don't have to do this breathing, okay? You can just hold the posture and breathe in normally through the right nostril, because that's what we're going to be doing. Inhaling through the right, exhaling out the right, blocking the left side. So our body mirrors itself with our brain. That's how we're wired. Everything on the left side of our brain filters through to the right side of the body, and vice versa. So here we are, we're channeling these energies so that they can flow in harmony through this practice, okay? But getting back to the breath of fire, if you can just for a minute or a moment imagine how your dog pants when it's exerted itself. It is full diaphragmatic breathing, and they pant using their mouth. This time we're going to just use our nose. There is a practice where you can breathe in and out through your mouth, but we're just going to use the breathing technique through our nose to activate our sun energy today. And again, if it doesn't work for you through your nose, you're just going to close your eyes and focus on your breath while we do the practice. It takes some getting used to this breath, and some of you might end up with a stitch or a spasm in your diaphragm. So if that happens, just stop, just come back to normal breathing and gaze at the floor for a couple of minutes while we continue. In fact, we won't be doing this for much longer than a minute. That's all it's going to take to bring you back fully into a left brain situation. So just connect with your breath. You're going to keep your eyes closed, focused at your third eye, and then very slowly bring the left hand up to your left nostril. The thumb closes it, other fingers pointing straight up. And just take a moment to connect with that breath again. And then force the air out by squeezing the diaphragm, and then let the diaphragm go and breathe in a little sniff through the right nostril. Breathe out by squeezing. So it looks like something like this. I'm going to drop my screen a bit so you can see my diaphragm. It's an in and out pumping motion, and it's quite fast, but the action is from your diaphragm. So keep going if you're doing it. Don't stop just because I'm talking. You can still hear me. This is the amazing thing of being human. We can multitask. But I'll keep quiet just so that you can try again if you've stopped, and just keep going. When you need to stop, take a nice deep breath in through your nose, let it out through that nostril, and then begin again. But if you're breathing insufficiently, if you're sniffing that air in quite forcefully, you should be able to continue this practice for anything up to 3 minutes, 4 minutes, maybe even longer. And now everybody take a nice slow deep full breath in and hold it. Release your thumb, bring your hand down and exhale, releasing that breath, and just slowly return to normal breathing and check in with how you feel. Thank you, everybody. What you've just done is some very powerful transformational practices. And it's kind of what keeps me centered, it keeps me grounded. And they're little tools that I use to help me prepare for very challenging situations like what I've just experienced. Although, to be honest, it wasn't nearly as scary as what I thought it would be. So thank you, Lorraine. I don't know whether I've spoken in.
Thank you, my dear. Oh, it's so beautiful to hear you speaking. Can we do a virtual clapping for Cassandra, everybody, please? What a beautiful share. Absolutely. Well, I mean, you sounded like a professional speaker to me. You are a professional speaker. Thank you, sweetheart. It was so beautiful to hear that. Very precious. Yes.
Thanks, Lorraine.
Yeah. Has anybody got any questions for Cass? Thank you. Such a lovely voice somebody has shared.
Wow. Okay.
Absolutely the truth. Yeah. And everything that Cass shared about Kundalini yoga, if you have not experienced it, ladies, then I do encourage you to try it. And Cass has online classes that she does, as well as face-to-face events. So I will be sending out links for everybody who's been on the summit today. So you will receive links for her and how you can connect with her. And a Saturday morning, I know you're going away now to South Africa, in fact. Cass, are you going to be doing your class when you get back?
I am, absolutely. When I get back, the first Saturday, I think, is the 18th of March that I'll be doing. Actually, no, I think the 10th of March, the one before. So yeah, I'll be doing my first class on the 10th or the 11th of March, but I am doing my Monday evening classes at 6 p.m. UK time, although it'll be 8 p.m. In South Africa, except for when I'm on retreat, which will be the first week, which is not tomorrow. No, yeah, Sunday, not tomorrow. I've got a class tomorrow evening, but the following week.
So there you are, folks. You can if you don't know, if you haven't experienced Kundalini, well, you have, because you've just done a bit with us now. The proof is in the pudding. And I do a lot of different yogas, forms of yoga, Hatha, Iyengar. I've done Ashtanga. I've done all sorts of different yogas over the years. And there's something that happens in a Kundalini yoga class, which is different and which connects me on different levels that I don't always get from the other forms of yoga, which also contribute something different. But the Kundalini yoga is and the use of music as well touches me deeply. And I've been very fortunate to have Cass as one of my Kundalini yoga teachers over quite a few years now. So, salut. So yeah, we wish you a very happy trip in South Africa, Cass, and yes, look forward to connecting with you maybe through doing a class while you're away and when you get back as well. So thank you so much for coming today and sharing. We're very grateful. Thank you, because I know you're pushed for time right now to get ready for your trip. So thank you for being here today. Bless you. Yeah. Yeah, so it's a virtual hug. What do you say?
Bye-bye, everybody, and thank you, Lorraine. Okay.
Yeah, my pleasure. Very good.